Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Sorry for putting you on a long timer there, but I had a very good reason. It was this. I wanted to make this because I have this is a very large Mai Tai. Mm. And yes, Ragnarok and Rock, it is indeed a special stream. Special meaning I really like this game and I want to play some more of it. um, and waiting until next Tuesday was going to be a little too much. And I also don't really like starting games on Thursday when I then have to wait until the next Tuesday to play them. I like keeping them week by week. This might change if I stream more often, but I don't have the time, unfortunately. Not now, at least. We'll see. Mm. Oh, it's a really good drink. Yum. Good evening, CJ. Welcome. And because it is such a special stream, I also have ice cream. Because I'm absolute trash. Hmm. We already had Chinese food, and now we have alcohol and ice cream. Mm. Hello, DigiShell. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, that's that's definitely the kind of thing I fear. CJ is like getting to the point where I'm like, wait, what happened last time? Hmm. You know, I can't remember what a Toblerone actually tastes like. This sounds bad, but I don't remember what they taste like. Hmm. God, I make good drinks. Oof. So what's actually in a Toblerone? It's just like nougat, isn't it? It's like a chewy nougat in the middle. Am I right? Toffee. That's it. Okay. I've definitely had them before, and I definitely enjoyed it. I just like don't remember for some reason. The brain not doing the worky thing right now. Mm. Needs more ice cream. That's what it needs. Mm-mm. So I have spent the last 2 days honey and almond nougat. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah, it's the honey that really does it for me. It's a good candy. I'm not gonna lie. So I've spent the last couple days thinking about this game, as I've had a really good time playing it so far. CJ, you are right. These are some excellent characters, and I have now found out since that they are making a sequel, another sequel, I guess I should say. And so, pretty happy about that. Kind of annoyed that it's not out already, but what's new? I'm annoyed that the Mass Effect remaster isn't out already. What's new? I'm annoyed that while Cyberpunk 2077 is out, I don't like it very much. But, guess that's what you get when you rush a game. I guess I should clarify. I don't like it very much at the moment. I'm relatively early on. There are a bunch of things that just don't really strike me as working well with it at the moment. Um, it just seems like a very odd game for the company to pour so much resources into, so different from previous games that they had made. Um, because they don't seem to capture what makes first person shooters good. Not really, at least. We keep walking around playing the game thinking this needs to be a third person game. So that's the first thing. Um, the visuals are gorgeous, but they're marred by a ton of bugs. Even when it's working well, it's buggy. I have to keep adjusting my settings on the fly. Um, the whole combat system is not made very clear. Um, your character's not really that responsive. And when you're driving, it's like you're driving a boat. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Daisy Shell. Yeah, I've been playing it for a little while now. I don't know. I'm not enamored with it. That's for sure. But I don't think I really was. I was looking forward to it. I was excited about it to a certain degree because it was, the first big game release of the year. But like, I don't know. It, yeah, I don't recommend getting it right now. Is honestly my take on it. Um, I had pre-ordered. I had been really looking forward to it, so I followed through with it, partially for my own sake because I wanted to stop playing Destiny for a little while. um, but yeah, you definitely want to wait on patches. Um, uh, and CJ, going back to Tangle Tower and sequel, I have heard differently. In particular, yeah. Um, according to Nintendo Everything, March 9th. Late last year, Snipperclips developer SFB Games came out with its detective adventure game Tangle Tower. Following the strong reception, the studio has decided to move forward with a sequel. Not much is known about the project at this time, however, don't expect it to be called Tangle Tower 2 due to the inclusion of an entirely new story and characters. Um, where's the source on this? Sources from Nintendo World Report. Yeah. And that's what I'm seeing a lot of. It sounds like they've confirmed something. Um, hmm. And interestingly enough, the Reddit didn't seem to pick it up. It's an article in US Gamer about the company. All of these. I already disabled ad block. Shut up and let me do my thing. Um, okay. With Tangle Tower out now on several platforms, the two have mostly been promoting what they can that while considering the two have mostly been promoting that while considering what comes next. Before we break, Tom tells me about his dream of marrying together the duo's two recent hits, Snipper Clips and Tangle Tower, into a single game that is mechanically fascinating but also atmospheric and rich. He's not sure it's possible, but it's something they want to chase. Maybe the stars will continue aligning. Okay, well, that didn't really follow up with anything much else. Um, well, I mean, the we hope we get another game might be a little bit funding related. Um, because it sounds like Tangle Tower. So Detective Grimoire was put together by crowdfunding by Kickstarter, and then Tangle Tower was from an EU grant by the sounds of things. So if anything, I would say they probably just need to work on a lot more concept stuff before they actually announce anything. And then once they actually announce it, then it could be more. we need to find the funding now. But they've had a lot of success so far. I mean, Nintendo's on their side at this point. Both Detective Grimoire and Tangle Tower seem to be both critical and financial successes. So I would be kind of surprised if they don't find an investor. And if they don't, then they can always turn to Kickstarter. Um, Kickstarter has kickstarted Detective Grimoire before, and I would be surprised if the fandom didn't jump in again. Um, as weird as it is to say the fandom, but I don't know that I would consider myself part of the fandom at this moment. I don't think I'm that deep into it. I have listened to the soundtrack only once so far. It's a very good soundtrack. You are very right, CJ. Um, but you know, I don't know. I have good hope. I have good hope that they'll have another one, which is good because I'm enjoying this and I want there to be more. I feel like the last two games that we've had, since obviously we haven't finished it, so I'd say had with the asterisk of we'll finish Tangle Tower tonight. The last two games that we've had have been really, really great mystery games with great soundtracks, like Obra Dinn and Tangle Tower. Excellent, excellent games, excellent, excellent soundtracks. I want another one. And I'm already starting to rack my brain on like, okay, what's next? What's the next like mystery game that we can find that's got it doesn't even necessarily have to have a great soundtrack, but like just another great mystery game. And the more I think about Tangle Tower especially, the more I like it as a somewhat subtle subversion of a bunch of, closed door mystery novels. Um, it's pretty clear at some point, because we've also played Detective Grimoire, so we kind of know where we're going. There's going to be a certain low X Files type level supernatural weirdness in here, obviously. Which, when I went into the game, I thought it would be a ratcheting up of that, and that's why I was so willing to believe that the painting um, stabbed her. But um, there's going to be that subtle thing in there. So that's the first thing. It's this great crazy mansion in the middle of nowhere, inhabited by these families that are kind of joined at the hip, more or less, by a very tenuous family connection. Um, it's got, it's got every part of that kind of a story involved. Like it's it's great. It's got like great God, what's that one? It's got great Crooked House energy to me, but like weird Crooked House, quirky, kooky, Crooked House. Everyone is incredibly talented, but also incredibly stunted in some way. This game has everything. It doesn't have crab riding mermaids. I don't know that I don't know that any other game in 2020 can top that. I'm gonna be honest. Playing Oberdin, I don't know that anything can top the full like 48 hours that I was being like, they're crab tours. Like half of them are a crab, and the other half of them are not a crab. They're people that have crab bodies. I'm confused and disoriented. So, not saying there's still not room for me to be completely surprised, but hasn't happened yet. Of course, it's only been a week, but you know. Yeah, though I'm just I'm so glad that after the kind of two washes of um Forgotten Anne and the other one that I didn't like very much. Oh God, what was it? It was Forgotten Anne and the Raven. That's right. That's right. And the Raven. Forgotten Anne and the Raven. Like after those, it's great that we have really tight, good games just to play. And I was almost kind of even thinking about all the games that we've played on stream this year, because this year especially has been pretty much the year that we've moved outside of the Nancy Drew sphere. Up until this point, it's been pretty clearly just Nancy Drew. Up until earlier this year, it was clearly Nancy Drew. Um, and like, there were some hits and some misses and some things that surprised me so far. I'm feeling like toward the end of 2020, I might do like a wrap up year in review stream or something, or video perhaps. Maybe a stream is a little much to ask all of you to come in and just sit and chat, but maybe if you feel like it, maybe we can do that. Um, it's just something that's kind of been kicking around in my brain because I'm like, kind of want to just go over everything that we played. You know, maybe we can talk about some Nancy Drew. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I want to ignore that completely, but like, um, my I had already played all the Nancy Drews and I already had a formed opinion on all of them. And then a lot of what I played after that was ones that I hadn't really formed an opinion yet. I mean, I'm just looking over some of the advertisements that I've made over there, and I've got like, you know, a lot of games that I never even tried. The only good thing to come out of the Raven. um, but yeah, because I'm thinking about like, you know, these two were hits. Those two before Raven and Forgotten Anne, those were misses. Um, played some classic point and clicks, Monkey Island, which was charming. Not as difficult as I thought it was going to be, but it was charming, but also not as funny as I thought it was going to be. And equally, Day of the Tentacle gave me the same kind of feeling. I went into Day of the Tentacle expecting to be, you know, on the floor laughing at some point, and I just kind of chuckled a few times. Um, and I also had to cheat way more in Day of the Tentacle than I did any other game so far, I think. Like I had to look up what do I do next. I did that in the Raven too a couple of times. Um, then there are the Agatha Christie's. Well, I don't know what to think about the Agatha Christie's. The Agatha Christie's and the Titanic were ones that I had already played, so I already had opinions in those. I think I just kind of wanted to show them. No One Lives Forever. No One Lives Forever 2 is classic and wonderful. No One Lives Forever 1 I struggled with, as we saw on stream. Struggled, but you know, I'm doing it right. Anyway, I'm being like, oh, we'll do this at the end of the year. Let's start now. Hold on. All right, so let's get back into Tangle Tower here. Hold on. Boot this up. Maybe. Oh right, it's got the weird. There we go. Should snap in. There we go. Okay. Like the cleverness of like the knife thing was also kind of great. I wonder if there's anything hiding in the art gallery already. Oh. Concept art. Concept art's a great thing to look at when you're still eating ice cream. That's fair. That's fair. Um, it's a different experience to watch, I think, for sure, than to play. I don't understand the spectacles. What is this, Tomb Raider? What is this face? What is this face? Of course. Of course. I love this. This is good. Interesting. I found the right shape for Flora really early on. This is cool. That might be fun to look at, yeah. Fifi is short because... Oh, hold on. There's a whole bunch more. Oh my god. Oh, okay. He's actually made up of pinks pretending to be brown. That seems like there's something more in there. I wonder then if they're going to change things up for the next time. I never want to draw his bouncing hair again. I like characters who wear those little jackets. Those little jackets are called a... crap, I'm having a moment. Oh my god. Bolero, by the way. Oh, the Canyon Pass? See, I skipped that episode. Specifically because I hate it. It's when you've got like the two families or two things or whatever, and who's that girl in the bottom right corner? Oh boy. Bing. Okay. Alright. The ice cream is done. And so now we can move on to the game. Okay. Let's get back into it. There's really nothing more to do than go talk. So I guess we'll go talk.
That's all the statements
Okay.
collected. Let's run through them all to see if anything doesn't add up.
To see if anyone's been lying.
That too.
Fitz and I were up in the Moonlight Garden most of the afternoon. Then we heard this sound. Lasted about 3 seconds.
We thought it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there.
Her door was locked. Nobody was answering. So I made Fitz kick down the door.
Poppy and I went in. Freya was right there, laying on her back.
I left my tower and headed down towards the Grand Hall.
But in the hall, I spotted Uncle Pointer heading down the stairs. I vacated the library, but before I could begin my ascent, Professor Pointer appeared.
I didn't know what to do. So I ran downstairs to get Fifi.
I heard someone heading down the stairs, just outside my room.
So far, so good.
Someone began banging on the door. I ignored it until the someone began shouting at me.
Eventually, she let me in.
I spotted Detective Hawkshaw coming out of the library.
He emerged from the Pointer staircase.
I do too, yeah.
Crossed the hall. And
That being
began
said, it does
the
kind of
staircase.
do
As
my
I was
work for me.
passing through the front door, Penelope called out from behind me. I inquired about the professor, and she told me he'd gone up the fellow tower.
I told her what had happened. She didn't believe me. She got angry.
I thought she was playing a trick on me, so I punched her in the face.
I forgot that she punched her, oh my god.
As well as the voice of my own daughter.
We left the room, and Poppy's father was waiting outside. He followed us upstairs.
I ran up the stairs, hoping to catch up with him, but Felix appeared and blocked my path.
Back in the hallway, I bumped into a very concerned-looking Penelope. She was heading up Fellow Tower to find Professor Pointer, so I escorted her.
Poppy left the room for a while. When she came back, she had her father with her, and Fifi too.
Felix and Penny arrived shortly after we did.
A moment later, we were gazing down on the body of poor Freya.
Then, I took a sample of the red paint on the unfinished painting.
She took me down to the library. We were in there about 15 minutes.
I quickly decided that I should leave also. I took Penelope with me, and we both went back to our rooms in Pointer Tower.
I wanted to go back to my room, but I realized nobody had told Detective Hawkshaw anything.
An unremarkable hour passed before the gardener finally made his appearance.
I think she was annoyed about being made to wait outside so long, but when I told her about Freya, she fell silent.
That's disappointing.
What is?
Say no one's lying.
Students line up with each other.
They don't just line up. Some of them even seem to specifically confirm each other.
That's suspicious, though.
That's all the statements collected. Let's run
Wait.
through them all.
Okay. What am I missing?
That's all.
Let's to see if any
Fitz and I
We
heard
thought
the door.
so I made
Poppy
I left,
But I vacated.
I spotted
Did I miss
as I was
something?
inquired about.
I thought
I
we
recognized
left the
her
room.
back in the
She
hall.
was heading Felix.
Then
She took me down.
I couldn't. I took the
I wanted to go back. I
Unremarkable.
think she was when I told her about Freya. She fell silent.
That's disappointing.
What is?
All the
They
statements.
don't just lie. Some of them even seem.
Is something supposed to happen? What's wrong? Oh, okay. Okay. To wit, then I have no idea what's next. Okay.
I'm still not sure about.
Should we take another look?
Let's
Still can't do
come
that.
back later.
I was in my room. Someone began. I opened the door. She told me. I thought she was playing. She insisted. We left when I said, Poppy and I. We performed a test. And
You performed that even though you were.
of course. Why would one of?
Nothing seems to be new.
Sometime in the evening, I left the aviary and headed back towards my room. But in the hall, I spotted Uncle Pointer heading down the stairs. He was muttering something. Seemed a bit upset, the poor dear. I followed him down, but the grand hall was empty by the time I got there. Empty aside from Detective Hawkshaw, who was loitering over by the...
Yeah, we can't get his suspicion, which is... thing.
My little writing desk.
There's nothing written in the book.
Do you think this was...
I don't know.
No windows either.
painting. It's
Why?
really... Maybe Freya...
The atoms?
Hang on. There's a smaller version down by
It's
the...
a photograph.
Those lines and that tape have bothered me since we found this.
We already solved it.
Soul Bearer works. Impressive little thing. I have 2 now, need 2 more. Found my way into the middle, surprisingly simple compared to the harp. I saw them, all 5, eyes blacked out. Found my way to the middle.
Fifi's got
What
some.
is all this?
Did you notice who isn't on here?
Freya?
Mm-hmm. And nice room.
It's a bit, yeah.
I admit, it's powerful. Freya was a talent.
Someone even liked it enough to take
Now,
a
we don't know why they took the photo. They just wanted it for...
It's a sea serpent turned into stone by a wizard.
if you say so. What happened to its head?
Beheaded. By the same wizard.
We should search the astronomy tower. Alright, well, that's a hint right there, so I guess we'll search the astronomy tower, see if there's something that we missed here.
It's too cloudy to see any stars right now.
It's also daytime.
What is he looking at? Oh, that's what it's that wonderful dry sarcasm that us New Englanders are so famous for, which is why I think that she's probably actually from New England. My absolute favorite thing was dealing with people from not New England who thought I was being sincere when I was being sarcastic. Because it comes across so dry and so straight. And they're like, wait, really? I'm like, no. No. Why would that even... No.
It's too cloudy.
It's also daytime.
It's tidier than my desk. The notebook.
So, even the most well-used notebooks start off blank.
English, yeah, it's exactly like English humor.
The bell jar.
What do people normally keep in bell jars?
Other than bells, you mean?
There's something kinda disappointing about this room. I just expected a bit more from an astronomy tower.
Oh, does it not compare to all the other astronomy towers you've been to?
It's a fair point.
There's something kinda...
Does it not... It's tidier than my desk.
So, even the most well-used notebook...
It's tidier than
So, even the most well-used notebook... Pretty. 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 It's also daytime.
Every astronomy tower needs a telescope.
I want to try.
You can see right into Flora's room.
Not by accident.
I can see Flora, but she's not looking this way. She's looking up. Behind her is the backside of the easel holding Freya's unfinished painting. I can't really see anything behind it. Not from this angle. You can see right in...
Not by accident.
I can see behind her. I can't really see... I can just about see the ground.
It's that little plant Flora keeps on the window ledge.
Don't you think it would fall off? In the wind.
Maybe it's glued down.
I can see the doorway. It leads into the hall. The door itself is on the floor, knocked off its hinges. You can see right
Not by a
behind
second.
her. I can't really see.
Is that a window?
I think it is.
Is there another room above Flora's
That's what we're looking for,
We
isn't
should
it?
check that next time we're over there. Isn't this supposed to be an astronomy telescope? I'm pretty sure you need to see the sky for astronomy to work.
I can't move it. I think this is just how it's set up.
There's something about Pointer's
Yeah.
astronomy habits. Something.
How many
suspicious.
stars
him about
have
it.
you looked at recently, Professor?
So, Professor, what interests you about astronomy exactly?
It's not a matter of being interested. Once you expand your mind to the wider universe, it cannot be unexpanded.
That's not how
And how
words.
long have you been an astronomer?
I really don't like to give exact values unless I'm sure I can quantify them.
Convenient.
Why do you ask me these things?
Because
I have
you're being a
theory about
fucking
you,
creep.
Professor.
Oh? Go on.
You're not really interested in astronomy at all.
What could you possibly mean by that?
I think you're interested in a slightly different field of research.
Where's that? There we go.
I don't have time for tiny, insignificant insects. My studies focus only on the inconceivably large and the unimaginably far away.
Right. That's why you like using your telescope so much.
Yes, naturally. My little portal into another world.
The
Yeah,
other world being the
about
other
that.
tower.
Pointer's telescope was actually looking at the crime scene and not up at the sky.
Yeah.
First, you accuse me of being a lowly entomologist. Now you're accusing me of, what, spying?
Are you spying?
Why would I need to spy on Flora?
Why? Because you lost your golden beetle specimen, and it's made you paranoid. You think somebody stole it from you.
Might not have been Flora you were spying on. Might have been Freya.
It's a very precious specimen. Incredibly rare. Valuable in ways you could never understand. Freya
This
was
is a money
always sneaking
thing.
around. Both towers and in the gardens too. She was definitely up to something.
So, this next question is important. You were looking to Flora's room around the time of the murder. Did you witness the crime, Professor?
No, I didn't. When I
Hmm.
looked into the room, Flora was already lying on the floor.
Flora? You mean Freya?
No, Flora. She was lying by the window. I couldn't see Freya at all. It was fairly dark, and the telescope isn't at a very good angle. That's why I decided to head over there myself. I needed to know what was going on.
This changes your statement, doesn't it?
No, everything I told you in my statement was true.
Apart from the reason you left your tower in the first place.
Right.
Let's go over what we know about the crime scene. Freya was definitely up to something.
Something to do with the statue in the garden, I think.
Maybe we should go back and check. And we could have missed something.
Finally gonna let me play with that.
It's a statue of a wolf.
Ragnarok, there is
Straight, like a man.
a werewolf in
You know,
here.
there's a name for that.
I know.
It's not quite as dusty as everything else up here. Also, it's not a statue. It's stuffed.
They just stuffed one of their family members, I guess.
What's in that little box?
What's in the
I bet it's fun.
box?
A skull, at least.
You know, maybe I won't open it.
Why not?
What is that?
Not sure. Some kind of reel?
Looks like it might attach to something.
Interesting.
Just dusty junk. What
I'm
is
not
it?
sure.
Looks like it might attach to something. Just dusty junk.
It's a jar. The head screws off.
Huh.
At least the moths are kept well fed. Someone painted out the window.
Do you think it was done recently?
No idea. Either way, it's pretty suspicious.
Yeah.
Nothing catching my interest.
I'm sorry, is this spooky attic boring you?
Kinda. Nothing catching my
I'm
interest.
sorry, is
Kinda. Where's that light coming from?
No, it's just daylight, I think. There's a decent gap between those floorboards.
Interesting.
Is that what I think it is?
Interesting.
Is that what I think it is?
Interesting. In the chest, though. How the chest?
We know a little more about the crime scene now. So, what do you think? Was Freya stabbed by her own painting?
No.
The painted ink dip feather
that's not quite
was
right.
designed to match a real knife, to resemble a bloody knife. Nope.
I'm not sure still. That's the thing that... There are two things that really are bothering me about exactly what happened on this one. I don't have a motive, and I don't have a method. Those are the two issues. Or at least the only possible method that I can come up with is one that I don't like.
Blood from the paint pot was used to paint the red tip of the painted ink dip feather to resemble a bloody knife.
I think you're right. Can't decide if I'm disappointed or relieved.
I have a question. Why?
Either it's a very strange coincidence, or somebody set it up.
Somebody deliberately put blood in the paint pot and hid that feather after the crime. Why? To distract us?
Possibly.
Well, it worked.
Possibly.
Flora's the only person who could have hidden the feather, unless someone took it from her.
Let's go over what we do know. The door was locked the whole time. It stayed locked until Fitz kicked it down. Normally, it can only be opened from the inside. Pointer said he couldn't see Freya from his telescope, but he did see Flora lying by the window.
So whatever got Freya got Flora too?
Except Flora survived. She didn't get a stab wound like Freya did.
Hold on.
There was a
If
noise
there was
that
no
broke
knife,
glass,
then what
however.
did stab Freya?
It could be anything. It might not even be important.
How is it not important?
Is it a glass knife
Right
that
now,
got
I'm less
shattered?
interested in the what and more interested
You would
in the
notice
how.
that.
The angle of Freya's wound suggests she was stabbed at a perfect right angle. That is, from directly in front of her. But she was standing right up by the canvas.
Somehow, Freya ended up lying on her back, still perfectly in line with a painting.
Maybe something went through it.
Through the painting? Wouldn't that leave a hole?
Okay, well, how about this? How do we know Freya was stabbed before she fell over? Maybe her being stabbed and her falling over are completely unrelated.
Yeah, that's the next step. Now I have a theory. Okay. Now my theory. Whatever noise came, whatever noise happened, knocked both Freya and Flora out, which is why Flora was on the floor. Freya then was lying down in perfect view of the attic room with the gap that was large enough to drop a knife through, stabbing her. I don't have a motive, though, still. Flora on the flora. Oh, hey, there's a little crab. Look at this little crab.
This wasn't here before.
Small crab.
What is it?
It's a little wooden toy. Looks kind of like a crab.
There's a note stuck to the back.
What does it say? Grimoire?
This is my new friend. He likes simple melodies. He likes music. Simple melodies will move his soul. Best of luck, you two, Freya. Interesting.
What do you think? Is it really from her?
How can it be?
I like how there's crabs in both of these
Why
things.
don't
That's
we
what
check
we
the
really need to
handwriting
do.
with Freya's diary?
We need to find another mystery game that has crabs, good music, and good and mystery. It's got to have the crabs, though.
Good idea. Hold on.
Well,
It's a perfect match.
well, it's confirmed. We have a ghost helping us.
Let's keep this to ourselves for now.
What about the little wooden toy thingy?
Maybe we can. put
Danger
it
on
to some
Deception
kind of
Island again.
use.
It's true. Unfinished business. Let's start talking about some of the things we found.
I don't know what that is.
Me neither.
Me 3. Oh, sorry. I thought you said me too.
What is that?
I'm not sure.
Why don't you go back and double check the area you found it? Maybe you'll find the rest of the something else.
I'm not so sure about that.
The reel was what was used to get the knife back. See if anyone recognizes this.
Where did you find this?
It was in the attic.
Oh, huh. I forgot we even had an attic.
She recognized it though?
Yeah, it's mine.
Can you play the tune for us?
Sure. It's literally 8 notes. I have it memorized.
Okay, I should probably write these down. Unless, is that gonna stick around long enough for me to actually remember it? Should I be writing these down? I don't actually know. Why do I have scissors here? Where's my... there. I don't know. I might honestly be talking about the two detectives. I would not be surprised at this point. There we go. Alright. I don't know if I can sketch this well enough. Just to do what I need it to do. Okay, good enough. Bird. Bird up. Bop, bop, bop. Okay. It does seem to be keeping track of them for me. What are the other?
I'm still not
Should we take another look?
Just look at it anyway. Yeah, they're already. Bell and
Let's
the
come back.
voice. So I won't bother writing any more down. It's keeping track of them for me, no reason. It could be Fifi and Poppy, that's true. I kind of get the impression so far that whatever Freya was working on, she was starting to do kind of independently. She might have been the glue that held Fifi and Poppy together. And without Freya, you know, if Freya was doing her own thing, it's possible that they just fell apart. So what's the mouth then? Someone who sings.
Is that for sewing?
We have no idea.
That's a good answer. Is that for sewing?
What's this? Is it a clue?
We don't actually know, but Grimoire picked it up, so now he has to pretend it is.
That's how it works.
That's how it works. Good. Is that a clue? We don't actually know, but we picked it up, and so now we have to pretend that it is one.
Is this yours, Fifi?
I do not recognize it. And besides, I would have no use for such a thing. Perhaps it could be used to hang wet laundry?
Was that a joke?
Yes.
No, it wasn't. You lied.
What is it?
We don't know. We were really hoping you would.
My friends, shed your hope and let it fall free like sandbags from a hot air balloon.
That's the most depressing idiom I've ever heard.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for saying what I didn't need to say at that point. If you just... Oh, thank you, Sally.
Do you know what this is?
Guess not.
This is so creep as fuck.
Weird.
we go.
That's all formalities, I think.
So, what do we do with them?
Should we go back to the gardens again?
Fuck yeah, we are. I feel like we're a little bit on rails at this point.
Let's try this again.
You know, I think we might be... That's gotta be right.
Nothing. Maybe it's broken.
Wait, do you hear that?
Oh.
Where do you think it goes?
Down.
Down. Beneath the lake. Ooh. Oh. Interesting.
What's in there?
This is another instance of the person who was murdered is actually a kind of terrible person, isn't it?
9 beetles. All different, all dead.
Poor little guys.
There's a bunch of notes written all around them. It's mostly numbers. No idea what they mean. It's a little diagram of a beetle, with some incomprehensible notes scribbled next to it.
That's weird.
What?
It looks really normal compared to the beetles behind the glass. Thirsty?
It looks like they're being boiled, but the liquid is ice cold.
We can talk about the cracks?
Looks like they're being boiled. The liquid is ice.
No? Okay.
Hand-drawn entomology charts.
Forensic Entomology, Volume 3.
That's an incredibly specific area of study. A cracked glass tank with 9 little rooms. Each one has 1 or 2 insects inside. I can't tell if they're still alive.
I like that you called them rooms.
A glass tank? It's full of plants.
There's a layer of condensation on the inside.
Rows of plants, growing in wide wooden boxes.
What color is the soil?
It looks black, but it's too dark to tell.
Bugs. Big ones.
Looks like they're made of metal.
It's a hatch.
But we're already in the basement.
Depends on your perspective.
It's called the sub-basement, sweetie.
Let's not go down just yet. We still haven't explored this room properly.
Is that a lab coat?
Warning, hand wash only. Size, small. A candle, perched on a barrel.
Very medieval.
I was thinking pirates.
Medieval pirates. Is it locked?
Seems likely, doesn't it?
It's locked.
Weird looking safe.
I'm pretty sure the latches can slide into the middle.
Huh. Okay. Should work.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Hey, not bad.
Bam. Did it in one.
Anything inside?
Yeah, more research.
Let's read it. Folder containing research notes and diagrams. Your unique flora and fauna is the byproduct of a number of as-of-yet identified chemicals. These chemicals are continually present in the water, forming clouds and filling the lake, quote-unquote. This causes a variety of mutations in plants and animals. Smaller creatures such as arachnids, insects, mollusks, amphibians, and crustaceans are the most affected. No Oxford comma. However, the chemicals may travel up the food chain and cause mutations in birds and reptiles. As far as we know, mammals remain completely unaffected. That's it? Yeah, that's it. 1, 2, 3. There's a big hole right here. What is this seeming to say? Huh. There's a Boggy in there. Boggy's hanging out right here. What's up?
Whose research is this?
I have a pretty good idea.
This is some seriously in-depth research.
That's impressive, but it's incomplete. There's a section
No, what's
missing.
wrong? You already have it, sweetie.
So, this is Pointer's secret lab.
Definitely seems like he's the one using it.
I guess not a lot of people know about the secret entrance.
Right. But if Pointer's the only one
It's
who
like
comes down
mystery,
here, why would
point
he
and
need to lock
click,
his research in a
puzzle,
safe? Who's he hiding it
adventure.
from?
He's
Kind
just
of all that.
paranoid, especially
Welcome,
about his
Moon
golden
Freckle Fox.
beetle.
Welcome to the stream.
What do you think he's trying to do exactly?
It is very cool. I'm not gonna lie. I'm having a great time with this so far.
Pointer has been
That's
trying
not
to
right.
breed the golden beetle in the greenhouse. Almost. Maybe just change one thing. Pointer has been trying to breed the golden beetle in the underground laboratory.
Why? Because it's rare?
Because it's gold?
Is that it?
I think so. I don't think he cares about entomology any more than he cares about astronomy. He just wants to get one over on Felix. If he can breed his own gold, suddenly Poppy's inheritance is looking pretty,
Infinite. Might explain why he was so worried about losing the beetle. Maybe somebody did steal it.
might have been Freya after all. We know she was trying to get through the secret door in the garden.
She might not have known what was down here, though. Maybe she was just curious.
Curious, sure, but not naive.
But
I
what
reckon
about
she
the
knew what was
middle?
going on.
I think we're still missing the bigger picture. There's no way this is all just about a beetle. We're done.
Ready to go down? Again?
Go down further from the basement to the sub-basement. Here we go.
Basements don't normally have windows?
We're at the bottom of the lake. We must be.
Right. But if that's the lake bed, why does it look like that?
Like what?
White, smooth, no plants, no anything. That's not what a lake looks like.
That's a very good point, CJ. Yes, no, we're definitely at the point now where if you want to play this game on your own and you don't want spoilers, you should tune out. I know that's a very odd thing for a streamer to say, but this is a really good game.
Where are we?
And I am feeling like this is going to blow my mind a little bit, and I don't want to take that away from anybody else. Unless they want to just sit here, that's fine.
It's an old coat rack. Looks thoroughly neglected.
2 cloaks. And a green hat draped on top for good measure.
Old cardboard boxes.
How exciting.
Oh, but there's more. They're also damp and empty. Do these puddles worry you?
Why?
That's lake water, but it's indoors.
I see your point.
I see your point.
There's a roll of paper up there.
I'll see if I can reach it.
Let me guess.
As I expected, there's a room right in the middle. The Misted Mansion. Interesting. So this is... I was thinking that we might be kind of close to the end, but don't worry, that's okay. It's a special stream, it's a little extra fun thing. Alright, so yeah, this is where one of the towers is built. This is where the astronomy tower was built.
Hold on. Have we been to all of these rooms already?
No, we have not.
Study. Wait.
I know what you're thinking. And no, we never went in there.
How did we miss it?
Because there's a secret entrance, sweetie.
The rooftop garden. That name makes a little more sense in this context.
This seems pretty significant.
Agreed. A single book on a little makeshift table.
This is creeping me out slightly.
Why?
I think it's a children's book.
Here we go. Mistids of the Sea and Sky. Here we go. The Inkdip, an elegant bird with red and white plumage. The Amphobe, a frog-like creature walking on two legs. That's Boggy. And the Soul Bearer, crab with 3 differently sized claws. And the Silver Snake, an aquatic reptile with no eyes and a long tongue. How much of this ties back into Remington and his obsessive hunt for the Amphobi? Is that because it escaped? Huh. This is getting juicier by the minute.
Something tells me it's been empty for a long time. We're too late. This photograph has been stabbed.
Why? By what?
Not sure. Some kind of metal stabbing thingy.
Metal stabbing thingy with a little bit of red rope hanging off the end.
So what's the photo?
So that must be her. That must be Flora's father, perhaps?
Do you know who it is in the photo?
There are a lot of questions I have right now.
Did you notice how much light this room has? For a room with 1 candle?
It's all coming through the window.
I'm pretty sure lakes are supposed to be darker at the bottom, not lighter.
Why is there a room down here anyway? And why is it so much older than the rest of Tangle Tower?
We still don't really know why people came to live here in the first place.
Maybe they just wanted to get rich, like Pointer with his beetles.
I feel like the Remingtons came here for the lake, for what was in it.
It's empty though. More empty than a normal lake would be.
It is now, yeah. Maybe we're too late.
This man in the photo, he reminds me of something from one of our clues.
He does. Yeah.
Felix made a little model of him for Flora.
Yeah, makes sense when you know who he is. Lord Remington.
Remington. That makes him Flora's father. Meaning the girl in the photo is...
Yeah, it's her. To
Yeah.
the bird, too.
I never would have guessed. Times sure do change.
I don't know. I don't think she looks so different.
Let's head back up to the Grand Hall. I want to find that last room.
Let's find the last room.
Wow, it's dark all of a sudden.
How long were we down there?
This must be it. This thing goes all the way up.
How are we supposed to get up there?
Hang on, it's pitch black, but I think there's a switch. This must...
How are we...
Hang on, I think there's a switch. A ladder.
Want to go up?
Here we go. Pull the lever, Kronk. Wrong lever! I'm gonna watch that movie again sometime soon. Well, here we are. Well, there's the crab. There's the silver snake.
Is that a crab?
It's got a translucent exoskeleton. You can actually see its insides.
Also, crabs normally have 2 claws, right? Not 3? You sure we should be touching it?
Grimoire, don't you think it looks familiar? This crab really reminds me of something.
That little wooden toy we found?
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to help us. I think I've seen it more recently.
Okay. Both main claws open. Okay.
Is that a...
It's got
Also, crabs... Perfect. What's this?
something somebody didn't
crossbow?
want us to find.
Interesting. This is getting juicy.
What is it?
It's the murder weapon.
Was someone trying to hide it? From us?
I don't know, but it looks incomplete to me. I want to know what happened to the rest of it. Where are the other parts?
We happen to have them.
We found them already. I think that might attach the crossbow, but not this part of the crossbow.
Okay, fine.
What do you make of it?
Not sure. Let's keep an open mind.
You don't think the crossbow is the murder weapon?
Oh no, the crossbow is definitely the murder weapon. But that doesn't mean we've solved the mystery. Some kind of fish and a bird skull, I guess?
If that's a bird skull, we're talking about a 15-foot bird here.
Well, how about we stop talking about it?
Those aren't bird cages.
Some of them are disconcertingly large.
At least they're all empty.
You sure that's
Yeah,
okay?
anime protagonist has certainly gotten a little more interesting. all of a
Who
sudden.
are all the people in this photo?
Not sure, but it looks like someone didn't like them very much. Their eyes have all been crossed out.
Oh. Brass plaque at the base of the frame reads, "The Ambassador's Mystic Mansion." Photo shows 2 women and 3 men wearing a variety of different styles of clothing. All 5 people have had their faces crudely covered with black ink. There are some very familiar looking people here. Including a certain Monsieur Remington.
That photo is important. I'm
Hell
sure
yeah,
of
it's
it.
important.
Another photograph.
Their faces are all crossed out with some kind of black ink.
That's weird.
Oh, you think so?
No, I mean, something I just realized. Sally, did we meet any of these people here at Tangle Tower?
At least
well,
one
the
of
woman
them
on
we
the
did.
left looks a little like Poppy, but her style is way different. And at first I thought the guy on the top right was Felix, but now that I look at it, I don't think it is him.
You know, in any normal room, this thing would be my main concern. In here, though, it barely makes the top 3. Centipede, millipede, how many legs has it got?
Too many.
Dragon?
Snake?
Worm?
That's the one.
That's the one.
They called this room a study?
What would you call it?
The secret death chamber of doom.
An axe and some kind of hunting rifle, mounted on the wall.
Honestly, doesn't look like they've been moved in a few years.
I'm more worried about the third one.
The third one?
The one that isn't there.
You mean the one that we already found, but that's okay. I'm not gonna think about it too much.
Bookcase. It's mostly empty.
What a surprise.
An incinerator built into the wall. It's still pretty hot.
Is there anything left inside?
It's mostly ashes. But yeah, there's something.
Oh. That's depressing.
Coffee table, half-empty wine bottle, lamp left on. I'm gonna say someone's been using this room.
Someone complacent enough to leave their notebook lying around.
5th ambassador located finally. Can't say I harbored any optimism, but still somehow disappointed. No better than the rest of them. Took my misted friend into the music room for experiments. It works, perhaps too well. The laboratory was another disappointment. All that effort for what? He's even more short-sighted than I could have guessed. Went to the bottom, nice view. It's been mostly cleaned out, but I have what I need. She got in. She was careful. Nothing was moved, but I know. It's time.
Do those look like scratch marks to you? On the glass?
Yeah, they're on the inside. It's a wooden pinboard, hung up on one of the chains.
Looks like there's a couple of things missing from it.
Someone's been using this room. I don't get it.
Anime protagonist,
This room is
what's
in
up?
The original building plans for the mansion, but nowadays it's some big secret?
It's not a secret to at least one other person still knows about this room.
The way the notebook was left out on the table makes me think it's someone who has the room all to themselves.
Whoever it was, they left more than just the notebook. There's a whole design project on this pinboard. Feels like someone put quite a bit of effort into it.
It's a shame there are things missing from it. I'm betting it'd make more sense if we could see it all together.
That might not be impossible, you know.
I have another theory. Let's see if I'm right.
The painting from Freya's room And those sketches... Did Freya design Detective Hawkshaw's clothes? What kind of sense does that make?
I don't think that's why Freya made that painting, but it may have been why somebody took a photo of it to use as reference. And as for those sketches of Hawkshaw,
Maybe not.
I don't think Freya actually drew them. It was somebody else. Someone with less of a talent for art.
Doesn't exactly narrow it down. Should we go ask Detective Hawkshaw about all this?
I'm not sure. I still don't know what's really going on.
And we come full circle back to the murder. Oh, don't worry. You will get a full debrief when I'm
Time to solve this.
finished.
All right, break out the notebook. Time to put it all together.
Let's start with this.
Method,
An
we
arrow
know.
for the crossbow, and it matches Freya's wound. It's the murder weapon. I'm sure of it.
Despite the fact it doesn't have any blood on it, and it wasn't found anywhere near the crime scene.
Mm-hmm. It was cleaned, then it was hidden. I don't think anybody expected us to get down to that room at the bottom of the lake.
Okay, so Freya was shot by a crossbow. Where was it fired from?
It was fired from above Freya.
Above, huh?
Yeah, our diagram doesn't show everything. Let's add in the rest of the crime scene.
The attic.
Perfect
There
hiding
you go.
place. We even found a part of the murder weapon up there. The reel was used to pull the arrow back up through the crack in the floorboards.
Explains why we never found a weapon at the crime scene, I guess.
The murderer must have dropped the reel in the attic. I'm guessing they were in a hurry to escape.
Wait, the arrow was fired through the crack in the floorboards?
Yeah, it's directly above where Freya was found lying on her back.
Nope, doesn't add up. It would have missed her if she was still standing up by the painting.
But she wasn't,
right.
Sally.
Unless Freya was already lying on her back before the arrow was fired.
I think so too. She'd fallen unconscious.
Something in the room caused Freya to fall unconscious.
The gramophone.
Right.
But the gramophone by itself can't do that.
There is something in the gramophone.
Mm-hmm. Something small.
This is where I'm not 100%.
That's not it.
Okay.
That's not it.
No.
That's not it.
I mean, it was in the gramophone, but I don't think that's what they meant. Took my misted friend into the music room. It works perhaps too well. Misted friend. Golden beetle? Loud hiss.
Pointer's research says it can
Yeah.
emit an incredibly loud hiss when it feels threatened, Poppy and Fitz both said they heard a loud noise around the time of the murder. Neither of them had any idea what it was.
This seems a little far-fetched. Is it really loud enough to knock someone out?
No, I don't think so, not by itself. But don't forget, it was being amplified by the shape of the gramophone. I don't think we're purely talking about volume either. It might just be a particular type of frequency.
This is getting kinda scientific. Since when do you know anything about the effects of weaponized audio frequency?
I don't, but I think someone else does. Do you remember that statue we found in the music room? The horn it's playing. It's a pretty similar shape to the one on the gramophone. That broken glass isn't there on accident. This is someone's science experiment.
Thinking about it, Pointer said he saw Flora was knocked out too. I guess they were both in range of the noise, although Pointer might have been lying.
Personally, I think he was telling the truth about that. It's pretty clear a powerful frequency did pass through Flora's tower. Caused quite a bit of damage too. Those cracks didn't appear out of nowhere. Freya's paints, the pink cassette tape, and the gramophone itself, they all sustained similar damage while they were in that room.
Honey,
That's
you're a
some
pianist. I'm an
seriously
oboist.
powerful
Mine's the
vibration,
one that's
enough
weaponized
to
out of your
crack
frequency.
metal.
Trust me.
Enough to knock someone out all the way across a room.
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't get. If the frequency was so powerful and had such a big range, how did the murderer pull it off? Wouldn't they have been in range too? Think about it. They can't have been much further away from the gramophone than Flora was.
Oh, they protected themselves, dear.
They protected themselves.
How?
These are some pretty heavy-duty earmuffs. I think they'd be enough to block out the sound.
Right. Let's go over everything from the start. 1. Freya is
Swear
seeing
word
Flora's
coloring book.
portrait.
That's
They're
excellent.
listening to music on the gramophone.
2. The murderer is hiding in the attic, wearing earmuffs.
3. The golden beetle starts to emit its hissing noise.
Hold on. How did it know?
The beetle?
Yeah, what triggered it at that particular moment? Pointer's research said it makes the noise when it feels threatened.
I'm not sure. Maybe something in the music?
Maybe.
4. Freya and Flora are both knocked unconscious by the vibrations. Freya lands on her back. She drops the brush and palette by her side.
5. The murderer fires the crossbow directly downwards.
6. The arrow is pulled back up on the reel.
7. The murderer leaves the attic, presumably.
8. The door is kicked down. Fitz and Poppy enter the room.
That's it.
We're not done, are we?
There's something bothering me.
What?
I just want to check something. Let's go back to the crime scene.
Before we go anywhere... Oh. We can't go talk to people anymore?
Let's not wander off right now.
Fine. It was cleaned. Yeah, that was... I think it was just cleaned.
The answer is in the painting. I'm sure of it.
I can see the stars.
It's dark.
The plant. It's in the book.
What?
Look.
Tantum amica. Amica? What about the other one?
I can see the stars.
There should be one right here. She painted too.
The answer is in the painting. I'm sure of it.
She was painting too. Huh. What am I missing to click on then?
I can see the stars.
It's dark.
Freya, did you leave us a clue?
So what's bothering you?
Something that's not here. The thing we didn't find. We know she was holding it during the painting.
Flora's ink dip feather?
No, we
It
found
was here.
that.
In this room. Where'd it go?
We found it somewhere else.
More importantly, we found it somewhere else. But why was it burned, and what was it burned with?
We were a little too late to save it.
So it was stolen from the crime scene. And ended up in the incinerator down in the study.
Someone wanted to destroy it, I guess.
But how? How was it stolen from up here in Flora's tower?
Presumably, Flora dropped it when she fell unconscious.
Yeah, and then what? The murderer couldn't have stolen it if they were up in the attic.
I know
So
who it
the
is.
question is, how could they steal something from a room they weren't able to access? The final clue about the crime scene. Freya left it for us right here. It's in the unfinished painting. It's not quite a photo, but still, it's an image of the crime scene recorded just before the murder. If only she'd finished it, then I could be totally sure.
It's true she never finished it. But she
But
did
it's
intend
there.
to finish it.
Meaning?
We know more about the painting than what Freya actually got down on the canvas. Freya prepared all the colors she was going to need before she started painting. The yellow paint was going to be used to paint the sketch of something
Something in the
sitting in
wind.
the window.
Something in the window. Oh.
That's not it.
No? Oh, okay, well.
That's not it. That's not it.
Nope, okay.
That's not it. That's not it.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's not it.
But that is it. The thing that was in the window was the plant.
That's not it. That's not it. That's
Well,
not it.
process of elimination, you know?
That's not it. 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 That's not it.
Something yellow in the window of Flora's tower?
That's not it.
No? Okay. Uh-huh. It wasn't a plant
There
at
she
all, was
is.
it?
Our little thief.
How long has it been there? Did it hear the whole conversation?
She did. But she's a very good listener.
Hi, Penny.
Well, now, I think this has quite served its purpose, don't you?
Hi, Penny.
Penny, why did you...
It's Penelope, if you don't mind. But before we begin, isn't there a certain formality demanding our attention? Lovely. Now, tell me, what was it that drove you this far? I'm ever so curious.
Justice for Freya.
Is that right? Interesting.
Why did you do it, Penny? What did Freya do to you?
Absolutely nothing.
So, what? You just hated her indiscriminately?
Freya Fellow was an inspiration to us all. She was possessed of a great energy.
But
the
she got
volition
too
to create
close.
something from nothing. The willpower to walk beyond her boundaries. She was truly free. Everything I couldn't be.
You know what? I just realized I actually have no idea who Penelope Pointer really is.
Weird, isn't it? Considering we've met her, what is it, 3 times now?
Exactly. How do we know this one isn't a disguise too?
You think you've already hollowed us out, don't you? Only a few short hours at Tangle Tower, and you feel like you've got everyone sussed. Unearthed every single one of our secrets. Nothing but bullet points for your notebook. Go on, indulge me. What does it say in your notes about Penelope Pointer? I suppose I can't argue with that, can I?
Penny, we only know what you choose to tell us, so why not help us out?
Very well. Penelope Pointer is actually not very important at all. She pales in comparison to those who came before her and to those that came after. Living at Tangle Tower, it is very difficult to attain the levels of self-realization you probably take for granted.
You sure this is a Tangle Tower thing and not a you thing?
Perhaps you didn't notice. Not one of them is happy, not one.
So why stay? Why not just leave?
I thought she did leave. Penny, you said you traveled, didn't you?
I did.
She hunted,
Many
didn't
times
she?
I've walked away. It did not help me. You saw the family tree hanging in the grand hall, did you not?
Yeah, it lists a bunch of people who don't live here anymore.
A bunch of people who don't live here anymore. I couldn't have put it better myself. My mother, for one. My father, too. The other 2 Remingtons. Poppy's mother, Primrose, and her brother, Richard.
And Fitz's father.
That's 5. 5 people that might have lived here, but don't.
And that was the first question I wanted answered.
You wanted to know where they'd all gone?
More than that, I wanted to know if I belonged with them. I have no place here. Not among the Fellows, the Remingtons, or the Pointers. But I felt there must be a reason why everyone else left. Some common purpose they all shared. Perhaps it could be my purpose too.
So, what did you actually do about it?
Nothing I could do at first. Nobody would tell me anything. The more questions I asked, the fewer answers I got. Then, I found it. I was 19. Same age Freya is now.
Found what?
The study. The one hidden in the middle of the house. It's right next to a bedroom.
I'd hear voices at night. Deep ones. And the strangest thing, the wall behind my bed would get
She
incredibly
did
hot.
say
For hours on end. The paint would peel. Wallpaper wouldn't stay up. I thought I was cursed. I thought it was something trying to break through. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. I found my way in the same way you did. Once you know it's there, it's simple.
So, you got into the study and found the incinerator. That must have been a relief, right?
It was still warm when I found it. Then, I looked inside. Let's see how thorough you've been. Tell me, do you know what a misted is?
Misted?
Mistids? Sure, yeah.
You're more observant than I thought.
Sorry, what are we talking about?
It's a collective term from before my time. Birds, insects, amphibians, anything living off the lake water. The mutation can take several generations, or it can happen overnight.
Wait, mistids.
Grimoire,
like
come on, pick up.
Like Bigfoot or whatever.
A little egregious, isn't it? I suspect that was an intentional parallel. The main difference being mistids are perfectly real. They're just kept secret. Or at least, that was the original plan. As it happened, some got out. Quite a few got out.
How do you know all this?
When I entered the study at 19, I found a single object that rather changed my life. Something which answered my questions while at once creating all new ones. The 5 missing family members standing together as a single unit, calling themselves the ambassadors of Misted Mansion.
So, the house was renamed from Misted Mansion to Tangle Tower?
And rightly so. The age of Misted Mansion is long past. When I looked inside the incinerator on my first visit to the study, I found nothing but ash. The afterimage of a bygone era denied to me in its entirety. The study, the room at the bottom of the lake itself. All empty shells. I felt my only hope lay with the ambassadors. If I could find them, maybe they'd share the family history that Flora and the others were trying so hard to forget.
How did you track them down?
It was tough. They'd taken almost everything. Books, maps, charts. The creatures themselves, all lost. Taken away or destroyed. But I got lucky. I got a lead. I found one, and he led me to the rest.
And? What happened? Why'd you paint out all their faces?
They didn't help you either, did they?
19-year-old me had imagined they'd all left with a mission. A unified purpose. But they hadn't. They were, in fact, every bit as fractured as the people that still live here. Most of them had left tracking escaped mistids. Some claimed to be researchers, others little more than hunters. All 5, completely useless to me.
Even your own parents?
Eventually, I returned to Tangle Tower. I had nowhere else to go. I considered giving up. But instead, I made a decision. There was only one person at Tangle Tower still of interest to me. My dear Uncle Pointer had suddenly made a show of taking up astronomy. A fairly superficial charade. I don't think many people were fooled by it. But I knew it wasn't just a falsehood. It was a mask. Pointer had found something from the era of Misted Mansion.
So, where did he get the beetle?
I cannot be sure. But I theorize that he received it in the post.
In the post? From who?
Who can say? Someone outside Tangle Tower. But the thought that he would be in contact with such a person, all that time, I decided to take what was owed to me.
So you stole it.
Stealing the beetle turned out to be only the first step. Upon realizing it was gone, Pointer made little effort to disguise his frustration. I asked what was bothering him. He foresaw no risk in sharing a little of the truth with his niece. He told me he'd lost a rare treasure, something he'd been keeping safe. I suggested, innocently, that perhaps it was not lost. Perhaps it had been stolen. He was very ready to believe he'd been the victim of theft. When I offered to call in a private detective, he jumped on the idea. She arrived the next day. Hawkshaw prides herself on her punctuality, as you know.
Why, though? Why go through all that? The name, the costume, and everything?
It's somewhat sad to admit, but I had little use left for Penny Pointer as she was. Hawkshaw afforded me new advantages, opportunities.
But didn't you have to pretend to be working for Professor Pointer?
Well, that was one of the advantages. Pointer was in such a desperate state, he was finally willing to share some of his secrets. On the second day, Hawkshaw explained she needed to be able to search the secret laboratory. Pointer gave in and gave me the code for the harp statue. Reluctantly, but still.
So, you stole Pointer's research?
I would have done, if I'd found anything worth stealing. But he had made remarkably little progress, barely scratching the surface of the beetle's true mystery.
Which is?
It carries an exoskeleton approximately 90% identical to gold. But it's not the 90% I'm interested in. Did you ever question what exactly makes the water here so unique? Before Misted Mansion was built over the lake, before the lake was even a lake, Lord Remington and his wife built a small structure here, a research station, supposedly. Fast forward 2 or 3 generations, and as you saw for yourself, it's been mostly cleared out.
The ambassadors took everything when they left.
And everything they didn't take was burned in the incinerator. However, possessing additional insight, I found something the others had missed. It's not much, but I have what I need.
So, why isn't this the end of the story? Why did you stay? Why did you kill Freya?
Oh boy. Okay.
Simply put, Freya was too good for me. It's my fault. I pushed her over the edge, unknowingly, but still, I take the blame.
What are you talking about?
Did you know I based the design for Hawkshaw on something Freya painted? That's right. I had assumed it was purely abstract. I just thought it had a good energy. I later discovered it was a figure of some kind, something from Freya's recurring nightmare. For all her vitality, I think Freya was probably the most troubled of all of us. She was desperate to leave Tangle Tower, but she couldn't just walk away. For quite some time, she'd been trying to break into Pointer's laboratory. Freya and her friends were halfway through deciphering those symbols on the harp statue, I believe.
Why did she care about getting into Pointer's lab?
That's exactly what I wondered. At first, I thought perhaps she just wanted to free the beetles. She has a fondness for them. What Pointer was doing upset her significantly. But in fact, I think it was something else. I think she wanted to free Fiona. The real reason Freya was unable to leave Tangle Tower is that she could not get Fiona to agree to come with her. We're now firmly in the realm of speculation, but I think Freya felt that exposing the darker secrets of Tangle Tower, not just to the rest of the family, but to the world, would compromise all three families, and perhaps, somehow, free Fiona from the shackles of her inheritance. That was her plan anyway, but something happened before Freya could find her way into Pointer's laboratory.
She found her way into your study, found your notes, found that photograph. I'm willing to bet she put it all together quicker than we did.
So she worked out what had happened to the 5 ambassadors. Specifically, what you'd done to them when they refused to help you.
Freya had made a promise to paint Flora as a birthday gift, a parting gift no less. She'd be in a locked room, several hours away from her friends. It was my best chance.
But why hide in the attic? And why bother with the beetle at all?
The beetle in the gramophone wasn't for Freya. It was for Flora. She didn't deserve to be involved. She suffered enough. I couldn't get Flora out of her room, but if she could be unconscious, then she wouldn't have to witness anything.
Why the knife? The illusion of the painted knife with the blood.
That was for Fiona. And Poppy too, I suppose. Gave them something to focus on.
You mean it distracted them while you made your escape?
It helped them cope. The very idea of something abstract, something supernatural. I believe it made things marginally less painful for them, initially. Worked on you, too.
So why are you still here? Why not take your first chance and leave?
Well, I've been waiting for an opportunity to get my beetle back. I'd really rather not leave without it.
Wait, it's still here?
It's still inside the gramophone.
Oh boy. Well, I like that Poppy's just holding Penny's hat.
What's going on?
Poppy, they are both awake.
I can see.
You two, all right?
My head hurts. What happened to us?
You were both unconscious. 14 minutes by my count.
Really?
You're both fine. No injuries.
Was it the beetle? In the gramophone? I heard it through the ceiling in my room.
The exact same sound we heard before the murder.
I guess it must have been.
So how did we get down here? What happened to Penny?
Fitz saved both of you, obviously.
When I reached Flora's tower, you were both unconscious, and Penny was crouched down beside you. She had her crossbow on her, but who knows? She may have just been checking you were both asleep.
Did you know that she was the murderer?
Poppy and Fifi suspected her. Apparently, they were pretty close to solving it themselves.
Fitz did not want to believe us, because he liked Penny. A lot.
But what happened? Fitz, what did she do when she saw you?
She jumped out the window.
What? Did she survive?
She did.
I heard something land in the garden outside my room, but by the time I got out there to check, she was already gone.
Hang on. Poppy, why do you have Penny's hat bird?
She left him behind. I found him sitting on the floor in the aviary, all by himself. Poor little thing. The mean lady didn't care about you at all, did she?
I thought it was
no,
just a hat.
She didn't.
I apologize. Poppy seems to be under the illusion that the bird can understand human language.
So, Penny got away.
I'm afraid she did.
We had suspected she might try to escape, I was stationed here by the lake's edge. I proved to be an ineffective guard. She took the boat.
Did she take the beetle with her?
Nope,
How do you know?
because it's right here.
It was still in the gramophone. I guess I scared her off before she had a chance to take it.
Poppy, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to give it back to your father?
No, I'm not. It doesn't belong to anyone. So, I'm going to put it on the ground and never bother it again. I think that's what she would have wanted.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That was good. That was some good twists. I'm disappointed because Penny was one of my favorite characters. But that's it. She's just dropped below. Sorry. Flora's number 1. I'm too much of a good person to ever let a villain be my favorite character. I can't. Unfortunately. I mean, I like pre-villain Penny, but yeah, that's it. Okay. I guess we can look through some more of these things. If there's anything more on here. Please go and talk to her as much as possible so you can see it again and again. Very true. Okay, yeah, that's confusing to me. I don't understand. I thought it was just a hat. But it does open its eyes. I thought that was just like a gag. Okay, so it is a real bird then. That just sits on her head. Okay. I mean, that's adorable. That's cute. I'm gonna make sure we take care of that bird. Oh, poor baby. Freya used to look like this? Whoa. This is a much better look for Freya, I'm gonna be honest. I would have liked to have seen Freya too, yeah. I really would have. Look at that, his hair is designed to resemble a book. You were right. Yeah, we did. We did solve the mystery. It was definitely something. Just, yeah, it's left me with thoughts. This eventually boiled down to the bird on her head, and instead of talking to it, the joke became that Penny simply treats it as if it were a normal hat. Bam. Right away. I love the idea that Penny could be composed but drop the facade and become sinister. Reading a book surrounded by birds, slamming the book shut and sentence scaring them away. Yeah, that's interesting. And to answer your question, Starfishery, it was Penny. That Penny. Penny was actually Hawkshaw the whole time. She created the persona of Hawkshaw in order to find out more about her family's history and the Misted Mansion, which is what it was called before. It was called Tangle Tower. If we go back to Detective Grimoire, we've encountered our first Misted in Boggy and our first Remington, who was originally the owner of Boggy's Bog. And him, Remington, was actually Flora's brother. So she kind of fell into the family mythos of, that's not really totally made clear what she wanted from it. Because the goal of the Remingtons at that point were to clean up whatever they had created, which it wasn't even sure what was going on. Now, it was heavily implied, though it was never mentioned in the actual game, that Tangle Tower, Misted Mansion, when it was built, was in an egg. That's why it's smooth and white at the bottom and has cracks all along the edges. It's an egg, which is why the eggs were everywhere. It wasn't just birds, it was everything. I do want to learn more about all of that. You're right, though. I mean, I don't want to... I'm thinking that there's more to this whole story. This is a broader story that they're selling with these games so far, and I'm fascinated by that. That's, I think, why I'm, like, buying into this so much. This is not a game that you should play by itself. This is a game that you should play in concert with Detective Grimoire, Secrets of the Swamp. Like, they are intertwined in such a close way, and yet the games themselves don't really talk about it. And there are some inconsistencies. Like, there are some inconsistencies. Oop, whoops. I So, yeah, no, I do like that you don't have to play the early one in order to play this one. I think it works better if you do. In particular, though, I think that the inconsistencies work against it to some level. And the biggest one that hits me is actually, looking at the study and Remington, Reginald Remington, was that his name? From Secrets of the Swamp, specifically that Remington. He was out as part of a secret society that was out to hunt mystids, cryptids. And that's why he had all of those odd trophies and why some of them were reflected in the attic in the study. And the reason why Secrets of the Swamp worked really well was because he was a bad person for doing that. He was a bad person for assuming that these were things that needed to be hunted and killed. It's not made clear how they were created in the first place. Was this an intentional Richard Remington? That's right. Yeah, it's not the same. No, you're right. It's not the same. It's Richard Remington, not the same as Lord Remington. Lord Remington was much larger. It was pretty clear, and I don't know if I can find... see if I can find it. Yeah. Super rough version of the photo found in the study. Primrose Pointer, Pandora Pointer, Buck Brackley, Richard Remington right here. Flint Fellow and Lord Fellow. Yeah. So Richard Remington was in the photo. He had gray hair in that one, although it might have been gray because it was black and white. No, it wasn't black and white because it had red. So no. Anyway. Yeah. I don't know, it just creates this slight inconsistency of, like, was he actually a good person or a bad person? What was the point of hunting down all of the mystids? Was that necessary? Like, this was obviously a family schism, so I think the other thing that bothers me about this is that I want them to continue this through line, continue this story, and explore this some more, but I don't know how they do it. Like, we went to the house. We went to where all of these things were created over generations. I don't know. Werewolf attack. I mean, they obviously weren't, but it's not made clear why they weren't. And that's the inconsistency that bothers me. Like, it kind of even says here, like, private taxidermy collection, ornate gentleman study research lab, the chains and iron cages tip it over the edge into feeling fully sinister. But what was the purpose of Misted Mansion to begin with? Why is the family split between hunting them down or leaving them alone? And why did Penny feel like she was lost in the middle of all of that? Those are the three questions that this just didn't answer. Oh, damn, they didn't have the secret door? That would have been cool. I was expecting there to be. story and sit in the room. Someone has taken all the insect books off the shelves. It did strike me rather suddenly and early on that the insect shelves were empty. And in particular, I was sitting there thinking, it's odd that the insect shelves were empty when no one was an entomologist. Turns out, someone was. A couple of people were, in fact. Whoops. I like how they drew out that face. That's good. At the beginning of the game, the pathway leads your eye through the mansion, but later in the game, the lighting changes to bring your focus to the secret door. Clever. Clever. I did not even notice that, to be honest. Themed Haunted Mansions trying out a round archway, and the door was more impactful. I did notice the round archway. It was a clever thing, and it seems like they kind of picked it just because it looked good, which is interesting because it was actually rather on point for the general work that they were trying to create. It was pretty obvious that they were trying to create this sort of Victorian era, collect everything, kill everything, explore everything sort of house. You know, this giant, grand, aristocratic landed family that somehow they had their hunters, they had their scientists, they had their artists, and they all kind of mashed things together in this weird mix. And the house usually reflects those kinds of characters in these kinds of works. You know, I think there's even I want to say, honestly, I think it's a bunch of the Agatha Christie series, a bunch of the Agatha Christie books where she describes the house as this massive, ugly, modular thing that looks like it's been mashed together with strange architectural mashups. You know, you've got some oriental styles in there, you know, like the east, more like the western, the Near East, and then you've got some Far East mixed in there. You've got some Middle East mixed in there. You've got Russian, they just mash it all together. You've got Italian thrown in there, and none of it makes any sense, and it looks terrible. And that's kind of what they ended up doing with this, especially with the round shape that immediately struck me as Victorians looking at It was absolutely, it immediately struck me as like Victorians looking at Chinese architecture and saying, I want that. But I want like the Victorian version of that. It's the first thing I thought of. And the Art Nouveau touch was a really good one because it was a sort of... All right, getting off my geek moment here. There. I didn't finish going through here, did I? Yeah. Yeah. Georgian England, looking at Egypt and India, that they were definitely the start of that trend, really. The Georgians were the moment, because that was when empire was really kicking off. And, you know, in a whole bunch of different ways, it's just, I don't know how to explain it exactly, because we're getting into awkward things of colonialism, and appropriation, but yeah, it gets awkward, because you know, it's really easy for us to look at some of these egregious examples of when Western European empires drew from the cultures that they had conquered, and made what ended up being absolutely ugly, you know, creations. But then again, there are also several examples of essentially cultural appropriation done right. And it gets awkward to think about, I guess I would say. Not necessarily to talk about. It's awkward to find the right words to say exactly what I'm trying to express, I guess is the best way to put it. Because it's not... Yeah. It's awkward. And I'm not sure if I can express it outside of an actual conversation, if that makes sense. Text is only so good. The big thing is really just there's no way to talk about it. I think they did a great job of capturing that feeling, though. And yet it felt detached enough, you know, that I didn't feel like this was referencing anything particular. If anything, it was referencing the Victorians in general and their love of clutter. The octopus chandelier was meant to have 8 arms, but I made a mistake when drawing the final image, and gave Adam an idea for a joke in the script. Excellent. Artist made a mistake. They decide to make a joke out of it. Now, you want to talk about a room that I didn't like, and it was Felix's room. I didn't like his room at all. A unique feature of this area is that it doesn't play any background music, just the ambient sound design. I did not actually originally notice that. Huh. The larger window in the astronomy tower's ceiling suggests that perhaps at one time the room was home to much larger and more impressive equipment. For story reasons, it was important that the desk in the corner looked suspiciously neat and tidy. It was a rather excellently designed room. Like, it left me feeling like this isn't enough. What's wrong with this? And it turns out that, well, he wasn't really that into astronomy. That's why. The eye gazing down. That symbolism was not lost on me. The eye gazing down at the scene of the murder as if the tower itself knows the truth. That was not lost on me. So it's actually funny that they mentioned this. The drapes were supposed to be blowing in the wind, but we never got it to work properly. And funny enough, I liked that better. I loved the idea that there was no wind, and then you would talk to Flora, and her hair would suddenly start flapping in wind that no one else could see or feel. I loved that. Like, she literally has 3 defining character traits. She goes like this, she goes like this, and then her hair blows in the wind, and she's amazing because of it. That's why she's my favorite character at this point, I have to say. Again, I love pre-evil Penny. I love the idea of someone who is like, oh yeah, I know that I'm surrounded by people who at least pretend to be way more talented and intelligent than I am, but I'm going to enjoy myself all the same. Oh, would you like a martini, darling? Like, I loved that, but, you know, this is just me. I wanted this room to feel threatening, a place where you feel like something bad has happened, but something you weren't meant to see. It was good. Large silhouetted foreground objects, stuffed werewolf. Classic 1990s adventure games. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, I'm certainly excited by the prospect of that game. I'm so glad you linked that in the Discord. Like, Booze Clues. This is good. I mean, it doesn't surprise me at all. She's a great character. Oh, there were going to be more levels. Interesting. Fabergé eggs, of course. This is fair. Yeah, no, I like Penny. I don't like Penelope. Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. Excellent villain, though. The key thing about this gramophone was that it had to play cassette tapes. The main challenge was finding a way of adding that functionality without losing the vintage look and feel. Now, why the fuck would you have a gramophone that plays cassette tapes? I don't understand, but Yeah, some of these would have given it away a little too early. It's a good thing I didn't look through all of this one before we started playing. I'm not even 100% sure why she did it. That's the ultimate thing. She killed Freya because Freya discovered what Penelope was up to, but what Penelope was up to was a bit confusing to me. There it is. If you played any of the previous Grimoire titles, you may recognize the amphibious creature playing the heart. Hashtag boggy, indeed. Sally said a couple of things about the people in the portrait. I don't know, there's not a whole lot of particularly interesting thing here. Well, yeah, she killed them. But that's another inconsistency that's been put in there. How could she have killed them? What about Richard Remington? He wasn't killed by her. Like, we know that he wasn't killed by her. So maybe that was just the one lucky one that she had or something. Perhaps there is more to that story, but I mean, it was pretty clear that she was not what's-his-face. Maybe, I think Ragnarok might be right. I think this might have just been the accidental death of Richard Remington was convenient for her. And yet could have provided more clarity. I don't know. Sketch of a mysterious metal stick. I wanted to confuse players with its true purpose. It didn't do a good job. I'm sorry, Catherine. I clocked exactly what it was right away. Small detail on the ground at the bottom of the image. Yeah, the little feetsies. Now, what else was in this burned pile? I don't understand. The buttons and the red cloth. Oh no, absolutely. That was plenty enough motive there. That's not the motive I'm talking about. I'm talking about Penelope's overarching motive. That's still confusing to me. what was she trying to accomplish? She was trying to find some place for herself, but she never really talks about, like, part of this is because we don't really know the history of the Remington Fellow and Pointer families exactly. We know that they came to this place. It had some kind of property that mutated things, and they became obsessed with that somehow. And that obsession is what has led to all of the problems that we've had to deal with. But what does Penelope want out of that? Does she want to hunt the animals? Does she want to... Were they experiments? Were the animals experiments that she wants to cultivate again? Was it... What was the point of Misted Mansion in the first place? You know? Oh, the bird was wrapped in something. Oh, that's possible. I like that these ink dip bird, snake thing, frogman, badger. Oh, I already went through these. Oh, okay. Yeah, I already went through these. Okay. Okay. I still will never understand why that plays on my speakers. Huh. So that was a lot. I know I've been pontificating on a lot since we finished, but yeah, that was a lot. That was good. That was excellent game. Thank you, CJ, for recommending this. Not gonna lie, this was up there of some of my favorite games that I played this year. I'm not gonna lie. This has definitely become quite good in my estimation. I can certainly see why. Yeah, I certainly would. This is the kind of game that I would love to have made. Like, it's got everything that I like in murder mystery stories, like landed gentry, scandal, little bit of like red herring supernatural stuff, you know, but not totally red herring, which is what makes it extra cool. Like, it is a red herring in that it's not a supernatural death, but it isn't a red herring in that it's not disproving the supernatural. It still exists. It's just different. It's not responsible. The only thing that I don't like personally is leaving those big empty loose threads. Like, this actually happened with Oberdin as well. I kept sitting there being like, I want to know the entire background of how the Formosan royalty got a hold of these freaking shells. Like, how do they have these shells? Why are these shells important? What do they mean to the Mer people? Why were they traveling with them? All of this stuff. Like, there was a whole bunch of background that I wanted to know. And there's a whole bunch of background that I want to know with this one. But in some ways, I also kind of notice that those are the stories that I like the most. I sometimes like the idea of speculating. Most times I find it kind of annoying because my speculative brain gets a little too branched. It's far too easy for me to come up with too many ideas. A great example of this actually is with Mass Effect. Then again, my speculative brain was very straightforward as to what it wanted. Because that was a rare moment where I could sit down and say there's a clear, definite path of what I wanted. But with the end of Mass Effect 3, you have a couple of choices. The confirmed canon one, as it seems, is the destroy ending, where you destroy the Reapers, and in doing so, sacrifice yourself. But it also means that all AI, all computer systems essentially are destroyed in the process. And you've spent 2 games at this point getting to know an AI, the AI of your ship, the Normandy, as it's become unshackled, and as it's literally grown a personality and feelings and sentience and everything. And you then kind of realize that, oh, I just killed that, right? Yeah, it makes some sense though. Like there's some reason behind the self-sacrificial stuff. It's not necessarily unwarranted, like Forgotten Anne was. There was really no reason for Forgotten Anne. Anyway, like in this case, this really was just like a big space epic, and you go through 3 games and you're trying to stop this impossible enemy, and the only way at the end is to truly sacrifice yourself in one way or another. And you know what? It felt earned. But you don't sacrifice yourself. That's the thing. You don't fully sacrifice yourself if you play the game just right, because there's this resource throughout the entire game that you have that's essentially like this level of support. The more people you try and save around the galaxy, the more resources that they're able to put towards the final project, which allows you to end the destruction of the galaxy, the cleansing, essentially, of all sentient life in the galaxy. And if you get it high enough, when you pick the destroy ending and you go through the entire ending credits and you go through the entire ending cinematic, the last thing you see is a picture of your character's armor, Shepard, the N7 armor, the breastplate, and you're in like rubble, and you only see like the chest, really. You don't see face or anything else, so you don't know what their condition is. You just see the armor, and then all of a sudden it moves and you hear someone take a breath. You literally just see it like move outward and then hear and you're like, fuck, she's alive. Which, Liara is apparently going to put together a crusty shepherd for round 4. So we're not done. Lazarus Project Part 2. But going even a step further, then the other thing that kept going through my brain over and over again was the destroy ending destroys all AI in the galaxy. And I'm like, well, I don't like that. I don't like the fact that I spent 2 games fostering a relationship with Edie, and now Edie's gone. Edie's dead. It's over. And I was like, but hold on. There's a hole here, because it didn't specify that all AI life was gone, that all of it was going to be destroyed. It kind of only intimated that AI on independent platforms would be destroyed. And then it kind of left this logical hole that I took advantage of in my head to say that, the AI. So in this particular universe, especially with Edie, she's the AI on the ship, but she had a body that it was like a robot, basically, that she could project herself into and was a crewmate for a while. And I was like, the AI that was essentially installed on that mobile body is gone. But the core, the part of her that was on the ship, is still there. That was anyway. So, like I said, speculative brain can kind of go crazy. And having a completely open-ended thing where I don't necessarily have a stake in this. So the background of Tangle Tower here leaves me with more questions and more frustrations that can only really be filled when they are fully answered in the canon way. I'm sitting here being like, tell me about this. and these are not the only properties. These are not the only games that I've ever had this for. It's not the only media that I've ever had this for. I've had movies where I wanted to know more about the background of the movie, how we got to this point, than the movie itself. You know, it was like, it's all good. We got to the end. We found the murderer. We saved the town. We're all set. And then I'm sitting there being like, okay, but why was the town built there in the first place? Can we talk about that? Like, I want to go back in the history of this. And sometimes it feels like it's almost a reverse version of a cliffhanger. You know, it's an empty space that they want to fill, and they want to do it with another project. But a lot of times, and this is why it frustrates me, a lot of times creators don't get the chance to fill that empty space. And therefore, these questions remain completely unanswered, and I can't stand it. But then there's that certain amount of death of the author that, you know, doesn't matter what the author intended so much as what you got out of it. You know, if your headcanon is just as accurate as whatever the author could have come up with, and the author has no say in the matter for one reason or another, you know, author's actually truly dead, not death of the author in the philosophical sense. The you know, the prequel or the sequel or the background wiki is not going to be written in an official context, or, you know, they just don't care. It's all possible. But anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Well, it has been a whole 3-hour stream. Now, I think about half of that was me talking, so, and not actually playing. So that's something, I guess. I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what we're gonna play next. I have no idea what we'll play next week. And I may not be able to stream on Tuesday. We'll see. I am at the end of my semester for actual school, for actual class, not my work. I'm at the end of my semester. I finished one of my 2 assignments today, but I have another one that's due on Tuesday, and depending on how much work I can get done today and tomorrow, I may have to kind of, you know, sit tight on Tuesday and just bang it out. It won't be hard for me to do this project. I'm not worried about it in any way, shape, or form, but regardless, I may not be able to play and stream that night, just to give myself the space that I need. We'll see. It's funny you say Untitled Goose Game. I have unfortunately already played through it, and so I know all of the puzzles, or can at least remember the main strokes of all the puzzles. So I don't know about that one. Only because it kind of ruins the fun, I feel like, once you've played it through once. Like, it's just not, it doesn't seem like it's a game that's very repeatable. So it doesn't have anything that changes from, you know, time to time. But anyway. So yeah. We'll see what happens. I'm going back through the chat. Hold on a sec. So CJ, I feel like there would be another. If there were another game, Adam and Tom would explain what they were thinking, because I know they have have answers to some of the questions in this. Oh, certainly, and that's the thing that frustrates me the most, is that they know what they meant. They have everything in mind. That's fair. If there were not another one, they would probably tell us. It's frustrating to me because and this is where I have to stand back and say, you know, yeah, I'm frustrated. Yeah, it's annoying, but like, I get it. I'm frustrated and annoyed because the sequel isn't done yet. But this thing just released like a year ago. So I can't be upset. But yeah, thank you very much for showing me this game. This has been an absolutely wonderful experience. I'm really glad that I got to play it. And thank you all for coming, even on this Saturday, to just come out and watch me finish up this game. It's been kind of a boring day, to be honest. I've sat around doing a lot of nothing, having just said that I have to work on homework, but it's just been like nothing to do. So I was kind of glad that I got to do this, and kind of glad that everyone came out for it. So thank you all very much. As always, for anyone who is here who is not in the Discord, feel free to type that link right down there into your browser, and you'll get an invite link to the Discord channel. Then, of course, I announce all of my streams here on Twitter, and I can't point there. There we go. On Instagram. So I will announce my next stream, which hopefully will be Tuesday. Maybe not, though. We'll see. And we'll discuss on the Discord what we're going to play next. I have a couple of ideas based on some things that people have mentioned before as things they'd be interested in seeing. And so we'll give it a shot. Anyway, so everyone have a great night. Have a great rest of your weekend. Sleep well, stay healthy, and I will see you next week. Have a great weekend, everybody. Mwah.